You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Happy you could join me here today for this Total Wellness Tuesday, where I want to go over the 9 specific herbs you can use in order to help eliminate parasites from your body, whether you have them or not, like whether you know you have them, whether you've been tested or not. So the reason why I wanted to bring up this topic today is that on episode 887 of the Cabral Concept, I actually talked about the 4 cleanses that everyone used to do hundreds of years ago that we hardly ever do today. And on 928, I spoke about the specific parasite protocol that we've been using now for many, many years in my private practice. So that takes you through it step by step, which supplements to use, how to test, all of those things. What I want to do today is I would actually just like to give you a lot of those foods that you can include with the parasite protocol or just start to use proactively in order to help eliminate a lot of the microbes that might be there in the first place. Because a lot of these specific herbs that I give you were always given to us in nature and by nature to eliminate all types of pathogens. Many times they're specific to parasites, but it could also be for yeast overgrowth. It could be for other types of worms besides specific parasitic-based worms that feed off of you. It could be for H. pylori. It could be for bacterial overgrowth. So I love being able to read articles like this, be able to pass the information on to you, and also see that it worked from a very science-based perspective. So although these herbs are always used in Ayurvedic-based medicine, and we use them a lot overseas, I'm going to share one in particular that we used all the time in Sri Lanka. It was the first time I'd ever seen it used, and extremely, extremely bitter, but it worked incredibly well. And so that's why I can't wait to share that with you today. It was actually the basis for this particular podcast. But the funny thing is this, is the more you look at all of the things that they did 6,000 years ago, and then you look at the current research of what's coming out now, you're like, well, I just wish that we could just open up these old Ayurvedic textbooks and traditional Chinese medicine and say, hey, they already have this quote-unquote cure for that. They already have this specific quote-unquote treatment for this. And again, you know that unless you're a licensed medical doctor, you're not treating, curing, or diagnosing disease. But I'll tell you this, any person, no matter who you are, you can begin to understand what humanity has been doing since the dawn of time. And I actually don't believe that we've ever been given any type of dis-ease of the body that we weren't also given some other type of plant to use in order to use that for medicine. Now, there's a couple caveats to that. People don't know if, it's because we kind of coexisted and came up that way, whether we were given that. It's totally up for you and up for debate and argument for however you want to look at it. I look at it like this. Everything came from the earth. We are literally substance from the earth. And so I want you to understand is all of these things make sense. They're synergists for us. You know when to use them and when not to use them. At the same time, we're really just now over the last maybe 200 years, we're creating synthetics, and especially since the 1950s, at a rate that is much faster that's ever happened. We have plastics. We have over, as I always say, 77,000 man-made synthetic chemicals in the environment. Now, it is these chemicals that our bodies are not equipped to deal with, because the human body is equipped to deal with things in nature, but not man-made synthetics. And that is why we do need to look at new types of healing modalities, which are using higher dosages of certain supplements and vitamins and all of these things, not forever, but for a period of time in order to rebalance the body. And that's because the strength of things like plastics and pesticides are much stronger than anything you can get in nature. And the reason is that they're concentrates. They're literally, if you look at it as like an extract, basically, because a lot of these things actually do come from nature. They're made in the lab, but they're extracted from natural things. If we just take a statin drug, for example, a statin, which a lot of people use for cholesterol, well, you could use red yeast rice. You could use that because it is an extract of that. Now, I'm not telling you to do that because, again, I can't provide you with how to cure, treat, or diagnose disease. But what I can tell you is this, hopefully a little bit more beneficial. How you got there in the first place, what to do to correct those underlying imbalances, which makes the need for certain types of medications null. There's just not a need. A healthy body is not overweight. A healthy body is not sick. A healthy body is aging gracefully. Does it age? Yes. Does it age at the same rate as your friend who's not doing those healthy things? Most likely not. Most likely not. So that's what we're looking at right now. We're helping people get well. We're helping them lose the weight just to reach their ideal body weight. Not too thin, not too overweight, their ideal body weight. And then we're helping them live longer, stronger. I do not want to perpetuate what's currently going on with conventional medicine, where we're keeping people alive longer. We're keeping them alive longer, but they're decrepit. 50s, 60s, and beyond, people's joints hurt. They're in constant pain. They have brain fog. They have no energy. They're using alcohol to help them sleep or a cocktail of medicine. They're using a cocktail of medicine to help for their digestive system, and then they're using caffeine and stimulants to wake them up. That is not how the human body is meant to function. And I'm telling you right now that you and I, we have the opportunity to pass on information that can change people's lives. That the things that we learn, that we understand to be true, because not only do they make sense from an actual scientific standpoint, but they make sense from a common sense and from an ancestral standpoint where this is how it's always been done. And the reason why it's always been done this way is because it's the correct way. There were thousands and thousands of years of human evolution and movement to be able to figure out the right thing to do at the right time. So I just want to pass on, around 9, maybe I'll give you a couple more herbs to use that are specific, that you can use to kill a lot of microbes in your gut. And I want to go over those. I want to start with the one that I found out about over in Sri Lanka when I was there for my first internship. I was opened up to a whole new world. I think I became a very different human being when I spent some time overseas. And I spent quite a bit of time overseas. And what it allowed me to do, and I've said this before, is understand perspective. I was in a couple very high-end clinics, okay? I was. But for the most part, these were very, very remote and very desolate. That's the best way I could say it in terms of, or even depraved-based conditions. A lot of the conditions that I was subjected to, because I was in the same clinic as anyone else, that they were not ideal. They were very much away from our Western-based mentality. And I'll save that for another day as to what those situations were like. But I'll tell you this, I gained a tremendous amount of respect. And I also somehow, which I know how, but I gained a tremendous amount of gratitude because it takes a lot of juxtaposition. Juxtaposition in life allows you that gratitude, right? I was actually having this chat with my daughter just earlier today, and she was saying, I just wish it could be sunny all the time because it was a little rainy, as we were hanging out. And the truth is this, is that I said to her, I said, yeah, but you wouldn't be able to enjoy all the sun if we didn't have a little rain every once in a while. And she looked at me, kind of half getting what I was saying, still wanted to be sunny, but still, she just turned 6. So what I look at is this, is the understanding that, one, is people are doing tremendous things all over the world, and oftentimes, even without our Western-based modalities and the ability to even use all these great tools. So again, when I was over in Sri Lanka, and I was in this very nice clinic, and we were using papaya for everything. We were using papaya for a digestive-based, because it has so many great enzymes in it, but we were using the seeds. And I had never, I'm like, you're going to feed people papaya seeds? Like, this doesn't even make any sense. And they said, no, we're giving them the seeds. And I said, okay. And they called it deworming. And I was like, well, the only time I've ever heard of deworming before is for my dog. Isn't that what you do for an animal? And they said, well, this is something that we've been doing once or twice a year. And I talked about that again. That's why I do hope that you listen to the shows on parasites. A lot of people don't know this, but 1 in 4 people, that's the minimum. 1 in 4 people, 25% of the people in the world have a parasite. And it's not just overseas. It's not. You can get a parasite from a salad bar, from water. You can get it from undercooked meats or sushi. I mean, that's an easy way to get a parasite, or fish in general. So please do check out episode 262. I'll try to link these up today. Just go to stephencabral.com/977, I believe is today's show. Let me confirm that. stephencabral.com/977. But the 3 previous shows on parasites were this: 262, stephencabral.com/262, the 7 signs you may have a parasite. Please check that out. A lot of people mistake the signs for a parasite. 887 was the 4 cleanses to do yearly, number 887. And 928 was our actual parasite protocol. I just gave it to you. I said, this is exactly what we do. This is exactly how we do a parasite protocol. And this is why I believe that everyone should do one just at least, I would just say just once a year or every couple years. I mean, because the chances that you might get exposed to a parasite are pretty good. And the downsides of doing the parasite protocol are basically nil. So when you look at that, it's obviously easy, but I want to give you some foods that you could add in at least once a week that begin to kill a lot of these microbes as well. So one thing that we did, and again, you don't have to run out and do all these things right away, was that we gave the papaya seeds. So I said, all right, I'm going to start eating papaya with the seeds. And it's actually a nice way to do it because the seeds are so bitter. They're actually spicy. And when you eat them, it is those seeds, not the papaya itself, not the flesh of the fruit, that helps to kill worms and tapeworms. So when you're in a lot of these countries where there's parasites just in the water, it's a great thing to do. So I knew that I could have been exposed to all of these things. So you best be sure that when I was over there, I was eating plenty of papaya seeds as well, besides doing the other things that I'll be sharing with you today. So papaya seeds is an absolutely amazing one. And you can obviously just buy papaya at a grocery food store. So a lot of these things are not a lot of these things. All the things I'm going to share with you today are very simple to do, and you can pick them up anywhere. Here's what I'm going to tell you, though. Papaya, over 90% right now, genetically modified. Please do not buy genetically modified foods. I'm just telling you that from the perspective that we are right now human guinea pigs for GMO foods. Keep in mind, these are not even foods. They're called genetically modified organisms, not foods, organisms. And the reason is that we've actually altered the cell of the fruit itself or whatever the GMO food may be. Now we're having GMO salmon. What happens is we don't know what that's going to do to the DNA. We don't know what that's going to do when we then eat it, right? Because we're used to eating things that were natural from the earth. And so when we genetically modify them and we put some type of virus or heavy metal into it in order to modify that thing, it can cause potential issues. So let's just go for non-GMO. That's all. All right, the next one of my other favorites, like hands down, these are a bunch of my favorites. So I'll give you some of my favorites, some that aren't my favorites. Cloves. Cloves are amazing. They're a superfood, like a true superfood. And I know it's not really a food, but these are all super substances. Why don't we go with that? But cloves are absolutely amazing. And we used a ton of them more in India than anywhere else. And especially in the south of India when I was in Kerala. And I was specifically in Trivandrum. And when I was there, there's malaria, there's tuberculosis, there's all sorts of things. And then, of course, there's viruses and parasites and all sorts of things you can be exposed to. So one thing that we added a lot to the food was clove. And, I liked the taste of clove. But after a while, I really started to enjoy it. So it was like okay in the beginning. But clove is something you could add to coffee, to tea, to rice-based bowls and dishes. It's a nice warming type spice as well. A really great one, and it's a multivariant based antimicrobial. So it helps with parasites, it helps with viruses, it helps with bacteria, it helps with yeast, helps with malaria, and believe it or not, it actually helps with toothaches and toothache-based pain. It's pretty remarkable. Cloves are one of my favorite herbs out there. We use them on our Candida protocol, and we use them with our parasite as well. So just one to keep in mind. Big fan. Another one, raw pumpkin seeds. Now, I've spoken about this before. Raw pumpkin seeds, all right? These are just your pepitas or pumpkin seeds, however you want to look at them. These are one of the best foods. Maybe I'll go to the next one right after this because I'm giving you my top parasite foods right now. So pumpkin seeds, so we don't have these in our formula, our parasite protocol formula. We ask people to use this in addition, right? Because they say, oh, do I have to follow a food list? You don't have to follow a specific food list when you're on the parasite protocol. However, there are foods that you could also add that could be very beneficial. So you could throw some raw pumpkin seeds right into your smoothie in the morning, or you can have those as a mid-afternoon snack, or maybe with dinner, however you want to do them. But raw pumpkin seeds have always been known, U.S., overseas, to be anti-parasitic and kill the parasitic-based eggs as well. So the reason why our parasite protocol works so well is that we know the life cycle of a lot of these parasites to be around 21 days or so. But then we also know that the eggs need time to hatch, and so we have to keep going, and so we do another 21 days. So our parasite protocol is 6 weeks, works remarkably well, and one of the reasons it works so well is we're incorporating a lot of these things, but we're getting the eggs, and I know that sounds kind of gross to think about, but we're also killing those at the same time. And pumpkin seeds helps with that, to a tremendous degree. So, for pumpkin seeds, a quarter cup, half a cup a day, really simple that you can do. Chew them up really well, break them down. And remember, it's the outer layer shell of that pumpkin seed, that green shell of a pumpkin seed in the pepita, that's going to help with the killing, right? We talk about it as like, lectins and all these things are bad. Well, you always have to ask for who. You can't make these blanket statements because we're talking about some high lectin foods right now, right? But at the same time, the lectins are going to help on these things specifically kill parasites and microbes. So bad for who? That's what you have to ask. All right. So the other one that I was going to tell you that we use all the time, and if you only went with these, then I think that would be absolutely phenomenal. Honestly, phenomenal. And that's garlic, fresh garlic. So all you need to do is peel it. That's it. And what I want you to do after that is I want you to peel the garlic, and then I want you to just smash it. So roll it with a rolling pin or just push down with it. What I do is I put it on a bamboo cutting board, and then I take a ceramic mug, and I just push the mug straight down, and it smashes the clove of garlic. And then I'll just swallow the garlic. And I won't chew it, and I won't do anything else with it, and I do that before bed, and that is an amazing way to clean out your gut. The allicin, the acids from the garlic, the sulfur, all of those things will help to kill viruses, to kill bacteria, to kill candida, and to kill parasites, if I didn't name that already. Now, we do not use garlic and we don't use onion if someone has SIBO or they do have fungal-based overgrowth. We use it for the parasitic-based. And the reason we don't is garlic is also a very powerful prebiotic, right? So you say, well, it kills fungus at the same time. Yes, but we don't have to use it. That's what people don't understand is that you have so many things at your disposal, you don't need to use all of these things. So what we do is after 6 to 8 weeks, then we add garlic back in after we've already done a lot of removal of the candida overgrowth and bacterial overgrowth. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's called our candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol. And for those people with bloating and gas and belching and nausea and IBS, it works just so phenomenally well. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But garlic as part of an anti-parasitic based protocol, absolutely fantastic. Used again for not hundreds of years, thousands of years. And it's literally as easy as crushing it, or if you want, you can even juice it. Juicing it would allow you to have less of the prebiotic-based fibers and sugars, and so it feed candida, or just, again, like as a prebiotic less. My thing is this, I just like to use that whole food. I look at it almost like a seed. Crush it, swallow it like a supplement, like a capsule, and then do that a half hour to an hour before bed so you don't lie down right away. And allow that to go to work, and it will go in, and it will kill that bacteria. That's something that my great-great-aunt that I remember used to do when she started to feel ill. And she came from the old country. She came from Italy. And that's something always, when they kind of make fun of, I don't know what it is, like Italian homes or whatever, and you see the garlic hanging from, like the cloves of garlic literally hanging in the kitchen, that's literally what my great-great-aunt's house looked like. And she passed that on, of course, to my grandmother, who essentially she raised for the most part. So, but this is amazing, right? There's a reason why it's been handed down from generation to generation. All right, so those are the 4 main ones we use. I want to give you a couple others. Cucumber seeds, never something that I've used before. Very interesting, though. When I was looking at the research, just about a teaspoon or so of cucumber seeds. What would that mean? Maybe eat a half a cucumber a day. That's it. And that would allow you to help to kill some of the tapeworms. Very specific to tapeworms for cucumber seeds. So I love seeing that. I thought that was really, really interesting. I wanted to bring that to you as well. A couple other things that I do all the time are ginger. Ginger, all the time, literally. So here's the thing about ginger. I've seen a little bit of research that it may help kill parasites. I wouldn't use ginger specifically to kill parasites, but I would use it overall for helping to acidify the beginning part of the digestive tract to then allow it to, because of its minerals and all that, to help balance the pH and the rest of it. But it's so good. It's like really so great for producing strong stomach acid to not allow you to then get parasites in the first place. Because remember, if you have strong enough stomach acid, you're going to help kill the parasites as they begin to enter your body. So that was something that I learned many years ago, and that's why I typically did not eat any type of animal protein or fish protein when I was overseas if I wasn't really sure where it was coming from. That's just what I chose. I thought it was a smarter deal, and the eggs would never be over easy. They would be scrambled or just cooked through if I had the opportunity to get those for some other type of protein. But what I want to say is this, is that I would try to take betaine HCl. It's not something that I take all the time, but I would take betaine HCl and pepsin to make sure that I wouldn't, that I would have enough heat in my stomach to not get all that. And then when possible, I'd have ginger tea. Ginger tea is something I bring on planes. I just bring it all over the place, and such a great product. So big fan of that. It helps get rid of a lot of mucus as well in the stomach as well as in the intestines, which is a very kapha-based disorder as well. Another great one. Love doing this. I do this all the time when I'm not feeling well. Cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is a absolutely potent antibacterial and antifungal, and I would even say antiparasitic, because there's great research on it. The other thing is there's so many people dealing with mold toxicity. We're going to be talking a lot more about mold toxicity. Here's the deal with mold toxicity. One of the things that helps to eradicate mold and fungus and yeast in the body is cayenne pepper. It's good for the cardiovascular system, helps dilate the blood vessels. So one thing you could do is you could literally mix together some ginger, some cayenne, some lemon, some oregano oil. I haven't even mentioned oregano oil, and even some turmeric. So turmeric there's actually some older research, no new research that I've seen, that it might be pretty good, turmeric, at helping to get rid of some worms and parasites as well. I certainly wouldn't use it for that. I mean, you can use turmeric as an amazing anti-inflammatory, but some chemical compounds possible. There could be some crossover. Again, I'll always give you the honest truth. I simply, turmeric can be kind of touted as an anti-parasitic. I wouldn't use it at that. Not for sure. I would not. I already gave you a lot of my favorites. I'm going to give you one more in a moment. But cayenne pepper, I mean, I'll tell you, I was just traveling last week, and I was feeling under the weather. And I had some very important interviews to do, some very important video shoots that I had to be on for. I was doing shots all day long, and not of alcohol. I was doing shots all day long, and they contained turmeric, lemon, ginger, parsley, oregano oil, and cayenne. And they burned when they went down. It burned the back of my throat, worse than any alcohol you can imagine, right? But I did that because for me, my Achilles heel is the ear, nose, and throat, for sure, like always. I mean, I was the sinus infection kid. I would nickname myself that because nobody grew up with more sinus infections than me. I mean, there's so much so that our family physician gave us Z-Packs to have inside of our house. That is no lie. That's no lie. Inside of our little towel closet outside of our bathroom, we had Z-Packs, zithromycin, antibiotics, ready to go at the first sign of sniffles. I mean, that is one way to try to destroy your innate immune system, by taking antibiotics every time you have a cold. Now I start to feel run down. I pound these things into my body all day long. Of course, I'm doing our adult immune protocol at the same time. I'm doing my extra vitamin C, all of those things, but I'm also using the best of nature. I believe in the best of everything. I'm using orthomolecular medicine, and I'm using the best of natural, based medicine as well. And you know what? It worked. It worked, and it worked fast. I could feel right away I'm doing these shots, start to feel better. And within 36 hours, my immune system was robust. It was feeling great. I was actually commenting to my wife. I said, I've never been this healthy. I've never been this healthy that I could recover that quickly from an illness. And I was just, not proud or anything, just so happy because I was so sick for so long. And even when I got better, it's like I had to do so much work to keep myself there. But now, I mean, honestly, just being honest, I haven't got enough sleep lately. I have not. I've had the launch of our integrative health practitioner certification. I've been traveling all over, literally all over the United States. And I've been on planes. I've been exposed to sick people coughing in my face. I have not been in the best place, but yet I'm staying pretty robust and healthy, knock on whatever you want to say around me. But And again, I'm not going to try to take advantage of that. I'm going to try to get now my sleep and all those things. These things do work. They honestly do. I would not pass them on to you. So big fan of that. And just a couple more. Let me just give you one more that we use in our parasite support formula as well. It's called ParaPro Support. All right, in ParaPro Support, you'll see something that has actually been used in the Amazon. It's been used in Ayurvedic medicine. It's been used in traditional Chinese medicine. And so whenever I see it like being carried across continents, meaning that it's been working for everyone for thousands of years, I say, okay, if everyone in every form of medicine except for conventional medicine is using it, probably makes sense, right? We probably do it. And so when you look at that, like a lot of times I'm saying, I love the science, but it has to use common sense as well. And that is the green hulls of black walnut. So that's what you want to do. You actually look at these shells. You look at the green hulls. And what these have been done is you don't swallow these. So please don't do that, right? Don't try this at home. You would crush them down to a powder, okay? And you could take them as the powder, which is what we do. We feel it's more powerful. Or you can take it as a tincture. And we actually include that as well, but we like the powder too. And what this does is it helps everything from overall toxin elimination, the liver detoxification, balancing blood sugar, but it helps with pinworms, tapeworms, other types of parasite, and yeast. We use it in both our Candida protocol as well as our parasite protocol. And an amazing product, like literally an amazing product. So that is what we do. If you want to learn exactly how to do the whole protocol, you're welcome to. It's completely up to you to look at that. We also add other things such as sweet wormwood, which is a must if you're using a parasite-based product or protocol. Olive leaf extract is not a must, but it's a great one to have in there. And we use biofilm disruptors. I'm not going to go through that today of why we use those, but just these are some amazing ones that, again, even if you're not doing a parasite-based protocol, just doesn't have to be a daily basis, a weekly basis, to begin to start to clean out the digestive tract, to make sure that it's harmonious, that yes, there can be some bacteria living down there, and there should be. And yes, there can even be some parasites, believe it or not, some synergistic ones that work with the body. But you cannot let the inmates run the asylum, as we like to say. You need to make sure that gut flora, which is the bacteria, is balanced, that there's more good bacteria than negative-based bacteria. And that will help with everything from mood to weight loss to the ability to re-regulate the circadian rhythm for overall immunity, right? I mean, it's 80% of your immune system is located. No one's disputing that. 80% of the immune system is located in and around the digestive-based tract. So please do check out episode 262 for the 7 signs you might have a parasite, episode 887 for the 4 cleanses to do yearly, and episode 928 for the how we do our parasite protocol, which will tell you about the stool test, which stool test to run. You can run it right at home to see if you might have parasites. It tests for H. pylori. It tests for bacterial overgrowth in the gut. Really, really amazing lab. And then, of course, there's always the organic acids test, which looks at the Candida overgrowth and the Clostridium difficile overgrowth. I'll link all those up today. So the 3 podcasts previously, I'll link up the parasite protocol, I'll link up the Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol, and I'll link up those lab tests. My goal is just to simply give you every place that you could to start. Maybe it's just with the 9 herbs or foods that I mentioned today, right? Or maybe it's to run a lab test, or maybe it's to go right into a protocol, or maybe it's just to think about it, right? Gather more information. However you want to do it, I'm good with that. I just want you to eventually learn, but then take action. I want you to begin to heal yourself, try things for yourself, pass it on to others. That's what it's all about. Thank you so much for tuning into another Cabral Concept. As always, I appreciate each and every one of your listens, and if today's show is helpful, do feel free to share it with anyone else you believe it could serve. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well, finally, is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.